What's up, guys? Miguel, aka Torrent, coming back with you. Today we are doing a real world test with the OHI. This is the OHI Future Starship, 240 watts, 27,600 milliamp battery power brick. And today we're going to get into a very real world test. So let's just get into it. I have my MacBook M1 Pro and I have my iPhone 16 Pro Max here. We are going to time how long it takes to charge. So we're going to hook it up to the power bank. The power bank is completely full. Both these devices are completely at zero. They don't turn on as of right now. There is no power to any of them. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in. We're going to start the timer, and we're going to look for a couple things on how fast this charges. A couple of things about the setup, right? So we got the OHI. We got OHI cables. So this is the OHI Future Adonis cable. This is the Thunderbolt 5 cable that's capable of 240 watts on this. And then we have here the OHI Magline. This is the 140 watt nylon USB to USB cable. So both these cables are from OHI. We're using an OHI product and again, an OHI power bank. What we're looking for is we're going to see how long it takes to charge both devices. And we're also looking at the temperature of the OHI. So we're keeping an eye out for the overheating thing. So without further ado, let's plug this in. Let's get the timer going and let's see what happens. So let's get into this. I'm going to plug them both in and start the timers, and then I'll be right back. Doing all these testings, I've come to realize now, I'm just going to kind of zoom in here because we want to see what kind of wattage we're getting. So excuse the multiple clicks. All right. So the top number, obviously the 2526 is the iPhone. The bottom number is the Apple device. The MacBook. And this is typical right now. It's cycling through the power. It's typical. So what I've realized is that when you get these devices down to zero and you plug them in, you don't actually get the full recharging speed until it has like at least 4 or 5%, anywhere from 1 to 5% of battery, and then you'll start seeing these speeds increase. It's actually really typical for it to turn off, turn on, turn off, until it gets a little power juice going. So right now we're here at around the cord saying 81, this one's saying 84. See if I could zoom in a little bit. All right, and we're already 98%. So we are off to the races. All right. So we're literally at 1 minute. Let me bring this in actually over here. And while we're at it, let me just turn my phone onto airplane mode. So we don't get all the text messages. All right, there we go. So we're now in airplane mode. All right. So this is pretty much the test. We're going to keep an eye on it. We'll be back here in 28 minutes. We're going to take a look. Now, I'm really curious. I'll say this. I'm really curious because I've had a lesser capacity power bank dump all its energy in about 50 minutes. That's right, 50-ish minutes. So I already have some targets to see if this beats it. And it left the laptop, my other videos, it left the laptop with 80% charge and the iPhone with 78% charge, which was really astonishing. and that took like about 50 to 55 minutes on different power banks. So I want to see how well this one performs if it dumps that much energy. Also, I want to see how it ratiates the, the power, what power goes what at what time. But anyway, we'll find out in about 30 minutes how this is doing. So I'll be back. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. So we are now approaching the 30-minute mark. Let's check in to see how we're doing with this. All right. So the first thing I want to notice is that the charging speeds have gone down. Let's see if we could get a shot of that. We're at now 20 for the iPhone and 40 for the laptop. Or is that 60? Can't really tell. Oh, that is 40. That is 40 and 20. So we've now shifted to a lower charging bracket, because usually the iPhone is at almost 30 and the laptop is at 78. All right, so we're 30 minutes in. Let's zoom out and kind of take a look at what's going on here. All right, and I think the iPhone is pretty easy because it's right there. We're at 53% charged on the iPhone. Actually, I'm sorry, 55%. It says it up here. Not sure why the other one. Don't know if you could see that. Trying to find a better, maybe that on the top. 55%. There you go. 56%. That is not bad at all. 56% on the iPhone. And let's see what we're at with the MacBook. Let's put this over here. And the MacBook, we are sitting at 48%. That's going to be a little harder to show. But we're sitting at 48% with the MacBook. All right. So let's put this all back together really quick. Put that up there. And on the charger itself, we are down to 44%. Now, the charger is here in the front. It's pretty warm, pretty hot. Nothing bad, right? I've felt worse, to tell you the truth. It's not bad. The back, the top, and the sides. So everywhere, all four sides and the two tops, completely cool to the touch, except this whole part up to about here is hot. So from here all the way to the screen. So it starts at the screen, and right here, this whole section here is warm, but not incredibly hot. This is like just what you would expect, which makes me wonder if OHI, if this is like a heat sink because it's so specific up here and everything else is cool. It does look on the bottom like it has like some sort of venting system. I don't hear any type of fans or anything circulating. So I'm not sure what how the cooling capability is of this. I'm curious to almost break it open to try to take a look at it. So far we're doing pretty good. So we have 42% more. I'm pretty sure this is going to finish before the next 20 minutes or so, but we're going to keep an eye on it. Oh, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me too well. I put it over there. We're going to keep an eye on it. We'll come back in the next 15 minutes or so, see where we're at. Let's see if it finishes within the hour, and we'll see what percentages we got with that. All right, so I'll be back within 15 minutes. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, we're back at the 15-minute mark. So we are at 47 minutes, and let's take a look. You notice I've been wiping off the charger because my hands go on this a lot. Let's see what the iPhone's at. So we are sitting at 74% charged. That's pretty good. And I'm just going to open this. I can't really see. I gotta twist this around. We're sitting at 63% on the laptop. That's pretty right there, 63%. That's pretty badass. All right, so let's see. Let's put this all back together here. 48 minutes here. And we still have 25%. We still have 25% charge still to go. Let's put this in frame. So now the biggest thing is, well, this is already charging the iPhone at 9% and the laptop at 42%. So what I think this is going to do now is dump majority or the 25% or the 24% left into the laptop because it is charging faster. And then it's going to trickle the iPhone in as much as possible until it reaches 0. So yeah, let's give it another 20 minutes or so. So let's just say we'll come back at an hour and 10 minutes maybe. Yeah, and see what this looks like, see if it's fully depleted. I don't know. So far, it's still warm in the same places. I'll wipe this off because it does keep the smudge marks pretty well. Maybe, OHI, if you're watching, you could put some sort of, well, again, if this is a heat sink in some sort of way, you probably can't put too much on here. But, the smudge marks really do bother me because look at this. So I keep constantly wiping it off. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that has OCD about the smudge marks. And it looks so much cleaner after you do it. Anyway, all right. So let's give it another 20 minutes. So far, this thing is performing like a champion. And let's see where we end up. All right. Thanks, guys. All right, we're back. So we're sitting at 4%, and we're barely getting a charge on the iPhone. That's 0.3. And we're still going strong on the MacBook. Which, let's see what we're at on the iPhone here. We are at 88%. Is that accurate? Sorry, I can't see. My eyes are pretty bad. My apologies. It says 8.2%. Yeah. So there we go. 8.3. So we're still getting a decent charge here. So, and the MacBook is still charging at 27 watts, which is pretty phenomenal. Let's just see what the MacBook's at. I mean, we only have 3% left, so I'm not gonna be too surprised. We are at 83%. Man. All right. So let's put this all back together here. Get this back in the picture. And the timer's still going. That's the other way. All right. So iPhone at 88%, MacBook at 83%. We have 3% left. I'm still loving the fact that this is charging at 27%. That's pretty ridiculous. And it has now gotten hotter on the sides now. But the top is really cool. Usually it gets really hot around the wire part, but that's not, I guess, where the motherboard is. This is all very cool. It's just over here is really hot. So we're going to stick around, wait for the final 2%, and then check in with overall thoughts. All right, and there we have it. It seemed like it was going to stay at that 1% forever. I think it was actually there for about 15 minutes or so. Which brings a little concern on the fact that I wonder if this screen is calibrated. So let's zoom out and let's tally up our final scores here. All right, so let's unplug the iPhone. So it took an hour and 30 minutes to completely deplete this. And the iPhone is sitting at 96% charged, which is pretty freaking amazing, to tell you the truth. And let's unplug the MacBook. Get rid of this wire because we don't need it. Let's see what the MacBook's at. All right. You're not going to believe this. MacBook's at 94%. 94%. This is the M1 Pro. So 94%, 96% in an hour and 30 minutes. And this is completely depleted. Badass performance by AOHI. Got to tell you, that was a really impressive performance. Now, it is pretty hot. We're going to take it a step further. So other times in the past when I've done this test, the power bank gets so hot that it basically becomes useless. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this into the electricity and we're going to see if it charges. Now, if it does charge correctly, it should get 140 watts of power to charging. And let's just see if it does that. Let me get a little bit of slack here. All right, I plugged it in. Now, we don't have a place to see the battery temperature, but, you know, let's see what happens. It might be too hot. Yeah. Which is fine. Which is fine. This is typical battery, typically battery behavior. It's too hot. It just came off of a really intense charge for an hour and 30 minutes. I wasn't expecting it to, you know, let's plug it into the other port. Oh, wait. Holy shnikes. Holy. All right. We're pulling 45. So it's not. We're going to plug it into the other one really quick. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. So it still works. See, it's still going. Now, it's not doing its full charge, so this should be charging at about 140 watts. Actually, you know what? I might be wrong because it is at 0%. It might need, like I said in the beginning of the video, and that might need to get up to 5% before it fully kicks in the 140%. So let's give it a little bit. All right. You know, we're gonna do a lap. How about that? We're gonna start. No. All right. Let's stop this. Let's reset and let's just start it. Okay. Let's give it a little bit. Let's continue the testing. Now remember, this is off an hour and a half charge where it just charged this and my phone to almost 100% on both, 96 and I think it was 94 on the laptop. So both these devices are almost completely at 100% in one charge, an hour and a half. So it just came up a really intense charge. Let's give it to about 10%, right? And let's see what the wattage is. The fact that it's charging right now is pretty amazing. So let's give it about 10, 15 minutes and see where it goes. All right, so we're back. We've given it about 17 minutes, 13% charge, and it's sitting at 44 watts. Now, the device is hot, don't get me wrong. Actually, it feels a lot cooler. Well, it feels like it's cooling off, to tell you the truth. So let's unplug it for a second. And then we're going to plug it back in and see if it just by chance. Nah. Okay. All right. But listen, hey. What's it doing? Oh, there it goes. Ah. Oh my God, there it goes. So it went up to 63 at least. Again, the device doesn't feel hot. There's nothing about this that feels hot. So I think it's the ramping up of the battery. This is typical though. Like probably around 30%, then we're going to get the 140 watt charging. Because it's amazing how cool this is in the 20 minutes that it took. So this has been outperforming other power banks in its class where it dumps all the energy. Like we just charged two main devices, right? Two big devices. It dumps all its energy. It didn't overheat. We plugged it in and it's still able to take a charge and now it's charging back up. So it's still useful, right? So you could have just plugged it back in and do it. So, so that concludes this testing for tonight. I'm going to stop this because now we're getting 63%. It's at 15. And I'm more than 99% sure that once it reaches 30-ish, it will kick in the 140 watts because it's not showing any signs of overheating at the moment. AOHI, great product, fantastic. I love the black and white, great in testing and real world testing. This product definitely gets a thumbs up from me. So if you're in the market for this product, I would definitely go with this power bank. Very awesome. So anyway, this concludes my real world testing of this power bank. Definitely one of the best. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Like, subscribe, do your thing, and we'll talk later. Bye now.